Sky check. How y'all doing today? Can clearly see the manipulation right there. All through there. Of course, what's new? You know, that's right here, same thing. All those little cotton balls, all manipulation. What you doing, Theodore? What you want, Theodore? Huh? You coming to start trouble, buddy? He always looks so serious. He's my serious boy. Very, very serious looking fella. If you look at his eyes. Hey, buddy. What you doing? Huh? What you doing, buddy? Yeah. He's a serious guy. Anyhow, yeah. So yeah, that's all manipulation there. It's almost like I don't know, almost like a screen or something in the way that it's moving, like a film. You know, I don't mean like a film like a movie. I mean like a film like a layer, you know, or coding, you know. Hey, little girls. So, I just pulled out some beets, and there are some golf ball size, and maybe like twice golf ball size, but there's a lot of them that are like dime size. Most of them are dime and nickel size, maybe even quarter. You know, they're edible obviously, but you're not going to do a whole lot with them. So, and they're turning. You know, they're at the point where, oh, I think I did salvage these here too, by the way. I thought for sure I was going to lose these, but as you can see right there, there they come. I'm so happy to see that right there. I am so happy to see that. My rutabagas turn up. They're about done. Matter of fact, I might get a couple more out, a couple of small ones, but some of them are turned to mush in the ground. This one right here is mush. I gotta pull that out of there. I was doing a little pruning on my little bit of pruning on my squash plant. It was climbing up the side of that hill, and the weeds just grew up out of control. They were actually starting to take over the tomato plants too, so they weren't going to go anywhere. So I had to, do some pruning, kind of like this over here, similar, except there were far more weeds and far less plant, you know. So, but no, we're gonna do good. We're gonna do good. It's gonna be a lot of. There is. I've already got about 40 squash, and I'm gonna wind up with what I figured I wind up with, which would be about a couple hundred of them. So I'm pretty happy about that, considering how many failures I've had in this garden. The carrots are turning off okay. I'll wind up with carrots that'll be about 4 inches to 8 inches long. I'm going to wind up with tons of tomatoes. I'm going to wind up with a decent amount of potatoes. Maybe not as much as I'd hoped for or thought. Look at this corn growing out of there too. But I'm going to wind up with a lot. So I'm pretty happy about that. The corn, it's getting fed to my chickens. I've been pulling them up and feeding them to the chickens because they didn't work out. They're not going to work out either. I mean, I could probably eat them. But it's not going to be many. It's a couple meals maybe. So I'll just give them to the chickens. They're loving it. They're loving all the treats they're getting. The onions, I'm going to wind up with a few onions. The problem was I just planted stuff too close together. It's plain to see right here. I mean, it's planted so close together, a lot of stuff got trampled. So, but I don't look at it as a failure. I know I said that in the last video, but it's not a failure. None of this is a failure. Man, I hope this ain't rodents coming in here. You see that right there? Oh. I hope that isn't a rodent coming into that. Digging holes into my potato plants. Because I'll tell you what, I will not be impressed. It looks like there's another hole over here too. The potatoes is one of the few that's actually going to turn off okay. Hey, look at that. That potato right there. That's definitely a rodent that dug a hole in there, getting into my potatoes. I'm going to have to start digging these out here soon. Because the last thing I want is rodents in here eating up my potatoes. I mean, whatever. I suppose they could have a couple of them. That wouldn't bother me if they ate 1 or 2. Unless it was the really big potatoes. I brought so much dirt over here. These mounds you would think were a lot bigger with the amount of dirt that I brought over here, but phew, it really does pack down. But that was another mistake too. I mean, it was just planted too close together, you know, so you couldn't properly mound it. Had it been properly mounded, it would have been, you know, 1.5 to 2 feet tall on the mound. But you know what? I'm gonna end up with a fair amount of potatoes. I'm gonna end up with a whole bunch of peas, a whole bunch of tomatoes, you know, squash. I mean, look at the tomatoes. Look how beautiful they are. There's some really, really huge tomatoes in there. I mean, they're just massive. And there's so many of them growing. And I love tomatoes. I really do. So I am pretty excited about the tomatoes. And this is just one plant. Well, it's actually more than one. There's several plants, but I mean, you got this one over here that's falling onto the ground. That one's putting off a lot of tomatoes. You got my watermelon plant. Watermelon here. Just a wee little thing. But I'm gonna wind up with some, so peas are growing up real nice up these fences. These ones over here, just like the other ones, they're already falling over, which is fine. That's what I expected it was going to do that. Is that another rodent hole right there? Maybe. I might have pulled a rock out of there. I've been cleaning up everywhere, getting ready for expanding the garden, bringing in a bunch of dirt. I got way too many projects to finish up, you know, and having just lost the guy who was supposed to live here and help, you know, even if it's a small amount of help, it's still help, you know, but it is what it is. This week I'm going to hang the rafters on that building. I built a nesting box for those hens in there because they're about ready to start laying eggs. Let me pause it. So, yes, these little girls have gotten really big. Really big. They're beautiful too. Beautiful hens. I put Mr. Brown in here. He's a gentleman. He's a good boy. He's very respectful of these hens. He does not take. He asks. If they say yes, then he does his thing. I like that about him. Because there's a couple of my roosters here, and they're good animals. I don't want to suggest that any of them are not good animals, but they take a little bit without asking. And just if you don't know, roosters do a dance, and if the hen says no, she kind of scoots away. If she says yes, she squats down, and you know, then they do what they do. So anyhow, this is the temporary nesting box. They've been in there digging about. I don't see any eggs yet, but it could happen any day. Absolutely could happen any day. Right, little ladies? Huh? You good girls? Yes, you are. Pretty babies. Huh? Pretty girl? Pretty baby? Yes, you are. Pretty girls. I love these, I love all my animals, honestly, but these Rhode Island Reds are very friendly. Very friendly. They don't really seem aggressive at all. I mean, a little, they're young, so they peck at each other a little bit. But for the most part, they're really good. Anyhow, that's it. Hope everyone's doing well. And, you know, I'll talk to you in the comments.